Hello everyone, I'm going to do a film response over the film The Artist. Film has transformed tremendously over the past century. We have made huge leaps and bounds in things like animation and color quality. There are 4 approaches to film history: aesthetic, technological, economic, and social. The aesthetic approach, Barsom says, seeks to evaluate individual movies and/or directors using criteria that assess their artistic significance and influence. It's simply changing the film's look. The technological approach involves advances in film tools like sound, the moving camera, deep focus cinematography, and color film stock. Movies over time have changed greatly in regard to economics. Production and distribution requires varying monetary values. The 4th approach to film history is social historical. Many movies are created based off of historical events like wars or cultural movements. Films are a product of their time or make a statement about a historical period or event. 1891 through 1903 is the time period of the first movies. These movies were made with a contraption called the kinetograph. The silent era of film history takes place 1908 through 1927. In this time period, motion pictures were made traditionally, a studio-based style. 1919 through 1931 is named the German Expressionism period due to the fact that Eastern and Western Europe were, as Barsom said, engulfed in chaos. Post-war, the government sought to improve and transform the film industry. The French avant-garde filmmaking period takes place from 1918 to 1930. It involves philosophical approaches of surrealism, cubism, and expressionism. Following these movements are the Soviet montage movement, classical Hollywood style in Hollywood's golden age, and the Italian neo-realism movement. The Artist is a silent film directed by Michel Hazanavicius. Like the film Citizen Kane, it shows the rise and fall of a specific individual. George Valentin is a famous silent filmmaker who falls in love with aspiring actress Peppy Miller. He is praised by many for his works, but eventually becomes bankrupt due to his resistance to changing times and the introduction of talking pictures. Peppy continues to succeed because she embraces the change from silent to talking films. Valentin suffers so much, he attempts to take his life, but is stopped by Peppy just in time. We understand the film entirely through score. The music becomes more dissonant and menacing when the scene builds in tension, like when George slowly lifts the gun to his mouth. It adds to the nervousness we feel for Valentin. The music is heavy on the brass as well as heavy in volume during the house fire. Music has a faster tempo in action scenes, like when Valentin's dog is running down the streets to alert the officer of the house fire. It makes us feel impatient for the scene to move forward because we want the cop to understand what's going on. The music is slower in more peaceful, relaxed scenes, like when George wakes up in Peppy's house. Brass instruments are generally played during more intense climactic scenes. A mixture of lighter instruments like woodwinds and brass are played during more regular or relaxed scenes. Romantic scenes or sad scenes include string instruments. For example, the scene of Peppy intertwining herself in Valentin's coat in the dressing room. The dynamics fluctuate, growing when Valentin enters the dressing room. Instruments used in dynamics set the mood for the scene. We can identify what may or may not happen through volume, tempo, and instrument choice. The Artist is not the expected movie, as director Michel Hazanavicius notes in an interview about the film. It's unique in that it acts as both a film art and a document of film history. The film creates an artfully done, tragic yet beautiful story of the rise and fall of silent filmmaker George Valentin. The rise and fall of silent filmmaker Valentin is applicable to the real world because in film history there was indeed a fall of silent film. Those who tried to hold on to silent films after 1927, when the silent era ended, were generally unsuccessful in the film industry. Talking pictures became the new happening thing, and everyone placed their focus on that type of film. Valentin represents those filmmakers who held on to silent films and refused change until they lost out. While the artist tells a story, it also tells history, making it an extremely relevant and powerful film. Thank you guys for listening to my little film response. I hope you guys liked it. Thanks!